everyone, and welcome to this tour of my sketchbook. So I started this last year, 1st of January 2017, and it goes throughout the year till the end of October. So this is a Moleskine sketchbook. It's got some stickers by artists that I like on the front. I'll post links to them in the description box below. So I always keep the first page blank, just because. And this is a sketch for a tarot card of Hecate, and I actually did this on a plane, so I think this turned out quite well. And then here's some ink drawing. I did this when I was travelling. I used this for a lot of my travels, this sketchbook, and the ink's actually faded, which is a bit annoying, but this was just when I was travelling for work in the Netherlands. And you can see it ghosts quite a lot, so a lot of the time I'll only draw on one side of the page. Again, just some more random doodles. I really use my sketchbooks as a place to just muck around and play in. As the paper's very thin, this doesn't really take wet media, so everything in here will be ink or graphite. This I drew on a train, going I think from Amsterdam to Eindhoven in the Netherlands. And these were quite fun. I liked just sketching purely with pens because it made me loosen up a bit more and be a bit freer, and not constantly erase things. So they're not perfect, but I like them. These were just some studies of some flowers. Just a random sketch. A lot of these will just not have too much meaning. This was inspired by Lady Gaga's character from American Horror Story, the Roanoke one. Another sketch for a tarot card, just in graphite, so you can see there's a bit of a shine there. I believe this was for Mermaid perhaps, but I think I was travelling again for this one. Another tarot sketch. So this is when I was working on my year-long project of designing my own tarot cards. I'm not even halfway through yet, but I'm gonna, after a couple of months off at the end of 2017, I'm probably going to pick it up fairly soon. But this was for Blood Duet, and this was inspired by, I think, a painting by Goya. More sketches for tarot cards. This was just a random character design. I'd quite like a pet like this, a sort of fluffy dragon thing. There's more of that character. I think I wanted to use this and make it into a sort of graphic novel or zine, but I never actually got round to it. But it's recorded there, so maybe one day. More sketches for tarot cards, looking at the composition. This was for the Two of Wands, and that's the final design that I went for. More tarot cards. A lot of this is, the first part is tarot card designs and then Drawloween. So hopefully you won't find this too boring. This was, so this was in April. This was for the April Art Challenge hosted by Bun on Instagram, and this was a sketch. I completed several ink drawings, so I actually used thicker paper to do this. I'm not sure where the sketchbook is that has my other ink drawings in, but I'll find it and I'll share it at some point. Some research for another tarot card. This I remember I did in May, and this was after visiting the botanical gardens. I remember because I just felt really inspired, but I didn't know what to draw. And normally when that happens I draw angels, so nothing to do with flowers, but the memory was just sparked. And I did actually start painting this, but I never finished it. Not this, obviously, there's another painting. Just a random starry-haired elf girl. This was practicing for my Freya tarot card painting, The Chariot, and I really wanted her to have beautiful robes, and so I was just doing a bit of practice here. and looking at composition. The idea of painting 2 cats pulling a chariot was quite daunting, so I was just trying to work out how to actually do the composition there. This was just a little detail of Freya practicing cats. And then costume design. I actually put a lot of prep into this tarot card and it ended up being one of my favourites, so maybe when I restart the project again I'll do something similar. And obviously she's a Norse goddess, so I wanted that very Viking-y look. More plans for tarot cards. This was the Wheel of Fortune and the Fates. More tarot sketching. Bit of life book sketching. This I quite like how it kind of ghosted over. This was done with is it charcoal? Yeah, I think it's charcoal. I never sealed the page. Oh god, got a dirty finger now. More life drawing. I do love life drawing. It's something that I want to do a lot more of this year actually, because I think the poses add a lot more flavour to my paintings. I'll often refer back to them when I'm doing a painting to look for, you know, poses where it's not just someone standing or, you know, with their arms down, and getting the shading as well. I do find shading quite difficult, so having these as references is really helpful. More life drawing. This is a very light sketch and you can't really see it too well because, yeah, that's a bit better. This was for another tarot card, and this is the Slavic symbol for Dazbog, the sun god. Oh yes, this was for the Star Tarot card, I remember that now. Hair designs. Looking more at the composition. I love the flowing of her body in this, although the horse is very small. Oh, this I did just as a random sketch whilst I was watching TV. And I ended up getting loads of likes on Instagram, which I was a bit surprised at because it's not my best work, but you know, take the love when it's given. This was for some Instagram ink challenge, I think. I found it very meditative doing all the different feathers and the fur. And this was for the same ink challenge. I can't remember what it was. It was something to do with monsters and fantasy or something. This year I'm really looking forward to some of the Instagram art challenges. I love doing them, so I'm going to try and do as many as possible. Angel with nice curly hair. A skeleton version of me with a bunny. Oh, this I remember I did on a plane, and I was on the very back row and completely squashed. I quite like how it turned out. I remember this. This was for a Frida drawing challenge on Instagram, and I believe I did that on a train up to Manchester. The train was about 3 hours. It didn't take the whole 3 hours, obviously, but yeah, this was around June, I think. More ink for the Frida drawing challenge. This was inspired by her painting of the wounded deer, but I just changed the deer face into a skull. I think it was a human face. Yeah, I think it's her face, Frida's face, but I just changed it into a skull to be nice and morbid. This was a sketch of Melusina, the two-tailed siren, and more sort of workings. I did a painting that I really loved based off of these sketches. This is actually closest to what it came out like, with the two mermaid tails intertwined amongst each other and eyes in the wings. This was some sketching for Tamara Laporte's arts class, Ever After, and this was my version of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. And I wanted her riding a bear, but it actually, in the end, I did it so it was a side-on view, more like this one. And I made the bear way too small, but never mind. All part of the learning process, isn't it? This was when I was binge watching Salem, I was flipping obsessed with that TV show. I was gutted when they cancelled it, and I thought the ending was really crap, but I loved all the costumes, and this was based off of the character Anne, and this was the original sketch. I was going to do a painting of it, but I never did. And then this I used for Drawloween for the witch prompt, which is, well, actually Mab's Drawloween Club, not Drawloween, which is hosted by Mab Graves, and that's every October. And it's just a series of Halloween themed art. This was another tarot sketch, more tarot sketch. I never actually painted this one, but this is going to be, I think, a jaguar. This is from, this is a Japanese demon from my Monsters book, which is a book I got from some art gallery, maybe Tate Modern. I love Japanese stuff, and I just really liked this demon. It looked very friendly for a demon. Practicing for the jaguar painting that I never actually did. This is the sketch for the tarot card. I can't remember which one it was, but the goddess. Oh, so just to backtrack, my tarot card project, I'm designing it with goddesses of the world, so that's why they're all different goddesses. This is Santoshi Mata, and the final painting was very embellished. It took weeks to finish. I was really proud of it. In fact, what I'll do is I'll actually create a separate video showing all the completed paintings I've done, because I think I've done about 28, so that could be quite fun to look over. Oh, this bloody, excuse my French, this drawing I did on an overnight flight back from Denver in Colorado, and it was one of the worst flights of my life. I couldn't sleep at all. I was in a really bad mood, and well, you can sort of tell from the drawing. A representation of me on the flight when I was very unhappy. This was again from Tam's Ever After class, but this was a lesson taught by Sarah Trump, Hansel and Gretel. And I focused more on the witch and Gretel and how she, you know, in my version of the story, she took Gretel under her wing. I actually love how the painting turned out. It was the first painting I did when I got back from Denver. I'd been away for over a week and hadn't really made any art, so I always struggle a bit getting back into the swing of things and motivation, and this was the first one, and I loved it. I did it all in one night, and it was just like a big outpouring of creativity, guided by the wonderful Sarah Trump. This is for the World Tarot card, and I wanted to incorporate all the star signs into it of some way, some representation. And now this is the start of lots of Halloween themed drawings. So the light's a bit, the glare is awful, sorry about that, maybe that's better. Creature from the Black Lagoon, someone from The Wicker Man. This I drew at the airport. This was based on a creepy house I saw in the middle of the Dutch countryside. There's not too much to say about these, they're just creepy graphite. And I wanted for this challenge, that's just a random fairy. Oh no, she's not, she's for a tarot card too. I wanted to focus on just graphite because I haven't just done just drawings for ages. With my tarot project, they're all painted in ink. So yeah, I just wanted to go back to basics, and I really like how some of these turned out. I was very proud for completing the challenge, and alongside this I also painted 31 ink witches, so it was, October was a crazy month of creativity. I actually really burned myself out, but I created a lot of art, so swings and roundabouts. This is a tarot card of Medina, and these are wolves. Promise you they are. And this was just looking at some costume designs for her. This is from the Ever After course. Again, this is the Goose Girl by The lesson was by a lovely lady called Tony. I can't remember her surname, but I'll put a link below. And these were basically, for the course, you'd take a fairy tale and sort of repurpose it or take themes from it. And these were the main things from her fairy tale, which was the goose skull. And this was going to be my plan for the painting, which I never actually did. I do actually want to do that. I really love how that turned out. Just a random girl with leaves in her hair or feathers. More Halloween stuff. This was my first witch that I went on to paint for Inktober. And another witch. And a swing dancing mummy. This was another witch, medieval witch. Creepy twins. I really like how this turned out actually. I love the hair like that. Poisoned apple. Sad clown. A werewolf. Already transformed. Three-headed poodle. Headless horsewoman. That was one that went wrong, so I just left it and started again. That was the redraw. Derpy cat. I like how this turned out actually. I based this off of a vintage Halloween card. This is a bit more sci-fi than horror, but I really like how this turned out for Alien. Ghoul. Didn't actually know what a ghoul was, and then from that I discovered the show Tokyo Ghoul, which I am obsessed with now. Moth. Oh, I think this was the spider prompt, and I took it away a bit, but she's got spidery legs, I suppose. And I've got pictures of all of these on my blog, ferrandoak.com, so if you want to check out proper pictures, and on Instagram of course, because it was for an Instagram challenge. Oh, and this was practicing, so for my witches in Inktober, I accompanied quite a lot of them with quotes. And I just love this quote. This was a celebration of Tim Burton. And then this was actually my last Halloween picture. And then I think we're nearly at the end now. These were just some sketches and ideas, crystals and plats. These were witchy sketches. This was Medusa. That was the sketch I went with. Sorry, my stomach just grumbled. I don't know if you heard that. More witch sketches. Trying out different body shapes. I've used this sketchbook really just for planning out actual paintings and stuff. So they're all very loose, not really finished or anything. This actually became one of my favourite witch ink illustrations. This one, oh yes, I did paint that one. I didn't think I had. This one I didn't. This one I painted. She was going to have the Deus de los Mortos. Sorry, my pronunciation's awful. But I actually just left her face blank and had her hair coming up instead. More witches riding brooms. A witch in a nice bubble bath or bubble cauldron. And that is it. I've got, what's this here? Oh, this is just pen test and then some other quotes. This is lovely actually. In his blue gardens, men and girls came and went like moths among the whisperings and the champagne and the stars. It's by F. Scott Fitzgerald from The Great Gatsby. And then just some colour tests. And then I've got, in here, I've got just some references of medieval paintings that I took, that I've just kept in there, just from various gallery visits. Yeah, that is my sketchbook tour for this now year-old sketchbook. I hope you enjoyed this. I will be doing more sketchbook tours. different paintings I've done and that sort of thing. So if that's something you're interested in, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. And I post a lot of updates on Instagram, so you can follow me there. I'll put a link below, and on my blog. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you soon.